Hello everybody, Reggie Time here, and we're going to be looking at a 13-hour session I played this Sunday lunchtime on Sky. I recorded it to review and put some comments on later as just like a different twist on my 13-hour play videos. So let me know if you like this format or not. I don't really want to do too many live play ones because, just to let you know, I have started my Twitch channel up again. You can find me on Twitch at ReggieTimePoker. Please go along and give me a follow if you'd like to be notified of when those sessions are going to be running. And also, please don't forget to like and share this video too. I'm just trying to build my overall profile slowly but surely. I'm doing that over the years. It's kind of much harder, much slower than I ever thought it might be, but we're getting there. We're starting to build a bigger and bigger profile, and I'm hoping towards the end of the month, in the next few days, have enough hands in my database to do a 100,000 hand database sample with some kind of like coaching promotion around it, as I've got some ideas on how I'd maybe want to set myself up for autumn and like the first part of winter in terms of coaching. Now the dark nights are going to be coming in. So yeah, please just do all the usual things like share, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and do head over to my Twitch channel and follow me there so you can get notifications of when I'm streaming. So there we go. Without further ado, we get into the video. Start off with 2 jacks in the hole. Just marking some fish up, as we should all be doing when we're, especially when we're playing in these. I guess we should pause and talk about that for a moment, because it's something that comes up a lot in my sessions with students who play Snap or playing, well, mostly Sky and Snap. How important note taking is before we get on with like analysing these 2 jacks. Note taking is really important. Noting fish is really important, and it might be that some of these players I've got tagged as fish, because as the video goes on, you're going to see a lot of people tagged as fish. It might be some of them aren't true fish in the true sense of the word, of like being high V pips, calling stations, donkeys, too aggressive, just generally bad at poker. Quite a lot of people with the fish tag won't actually be that bad at poker, but because they're not playing 100 blind stacks, the first thing it tells me is that they're not experienced regulars. Then over the time, hopefully we'll start to get less fish tags and more different coloured tags with notes, with notes attached. So that anyone that isn't tagged usually is going to be someone who's relatively unknown to me. So the first thing is they don't get tagged if they've got over 100 blinds, and then we just go back at the end of the session, we try and find the VPIP PFR and just figure out where they're going from there. If they've got less than 100 blinds, they get tagged as fish straight away. And sometimes I'll end up tagging some like Ukrainian nits that buy in for $12 as fish, and they'll actually end up being like 15/8 fucking nits. But I'm already aware of that when I'm tagging some of the players, like some players from Latvia too, who I tag as fish initially just because they're not playing 100 blinds. That eventually gets reassessed to being something else, usually some kind of weak tight type player. But I'm aware of that when I'm tagging them, and I'm aware of that when I'm in hands with them too. So yeah, you're going to see me tagging a lot of players as fish, and it's something that you really need to be doing in your own games, because if you're playing with someone who has $17.48 and they're from the UK, and then you see them 2 weeks later and they've got $80, you don't make the mistake that this player could be a good solid regular, when actually he's maybe just like fish on some kind of heater. So you just need to be aware of players that aren't reloading, get them tagged early doors, and then refine your note taking later on when you have more time more history with them. So anyway, let's get on with these 2 jacks, see where we go from here. I think it's a pretty clear c-bet. Very dry board. We opened. Someone's just like called behind. We don't know anything about him. Computer says no. He's got over 100 blinds. He's untagged. Could be anything. C-bet seems completely standard, of course. And he just folds and nothing exciting happens. We are playing this on faster speed back. We might go even faster still. It seems to be going at double speed though, so maybe that'll be okay. A lot of tagging going on, as you see. I'm very committed to my tagging. So here we have with the 2 jacks on the. Let me get rid of this fish thing first. 2 jacks on the right hand side. We c-bet the flop, and the turn has come a 10, which is pretty bad for Hose. In terms of like, it's going to be harder to get value if he did just have like the 7 or pocket 8s or pocket 5s or whatever. And it actually, it beats us some of the time. You know, it's not a great hand. All of a sudden, it's not a great card for our hand, sorry, and all of a sudden, from going from wanting to maybe think we can bet 3 streets here, we now start thinking about how is this hand likely to progress. I think if we bet, we're going to get called by worse sometimes, we're going to get raised sometimes and not know how to proceed, and it's just going to fold. So kind of being raised sucks here, him folding sucks here. So it's a line I'll take quite typically. I'm just going to check and see what happens. We clearly can't check fold just yet, given that we've kind of capped our range and we're kind of pretty high up our range as well. Like if we had a hand like pocket sixes here that I'd just like stabbed on the flop with just to like try and get 2 overs to fold or whatever, then yeah, I think check folding is fine. But our hand's way too strong to check fold right now, so we just check call and see some rivers. Not a good river at this point. I was willing to just check fold. It just isn't. If he bets again, I have a hard time thinking of too many hands we're beating. We do block the nuts, of course. Well, we do block the nuts straight. We've got a blocker to a flush. But nevertheless, it's just not a spot where I'd expect someone to bet worse than 2 jacks here for value. And I wouldn't expect them to have too many bluffs. You know, maybe, who knows, some guys might just double barrel here with all kinds, knowing that my range isn't very strong. It's certainly a line I would take versus somebody else. Had I floated this flop with, I don't know, who knows what, king, queen, or queen, jack, or something like that, I absolutely would maybe just start betting here. But I don't think that's something that happens in these games a lot. So yeah, it's a spot where I think good players are certainly going to be capable of just saying, you know what, this guy's capped his range. We could just bomb this river for pot or even over bet and not expect us to call very often because it's a ship run out for us. I just don't think that happens in these games enough for me to worry about being exploited in that way. And I would just in check fold mode here, unless he was to do something that bet really tiny. So we check again. And that opponent checks back and we take down a medium-sized pot. Not a big fan of set mining, but I am when I'm getting almost 5-1 pre-flop. You can tell this is the start of a session because we're just doing nothing but tag players that I've never seen before. So we've got 2 things going on here. We'll tackle them one at a time. We'll go with the set of 3s at first. Flop checks through. We were obviously going to be going for check raise on that board, but the flop checks through, so we didn't get a chance to check raise. We just have to bet this turn now. A flush draw has been created. If nobody had like 2 clubs to begin with, they've got 1 club now. They've got a flush draw. There's some gut shots out there now. There's like gut shots to the Broadway. There's good shots to the wheel. So there's lots going on where we can certainly get called by, and we certainly need to protect against it a little bit. So, right, I'm not sure. I thought I'd pause it by then. Maybe I just hovered over the play by mistake. So we need to be betting here. I don't recall what size I chose, but if I was making the bet again now, I'd go pretty big. I'd like to see myself go something in the realms of maybe $2.10, something like that. 180. That's fine, I guess. Not a major problem. You get the call, and I think it's reasonable to be a little bit worried by someone who might just have like a small flush or something here, but our hand's way too strong to check. A big mistake I see lots of people making here with these pocket 3s is that turn them into a bluff catcher on the river, and I fucking hope I don't do that now, because I don't remember the hand exactly. See way too many players will bet here and think, oh fuck, can't get called by worse, etc, etc, etc. All kind of nonsense excuses to avoid being put in a tough spot where they don't want to bet fold. But I think this is quite a clear bet fold, and I'd like to see myself make quite a chunky bet here. Certainly up in the like $4 region, maybe higher. And just if we get raised, just sigh and fold, I guess. Let's see what I do. Please don't check. Please don't check, Reggie. Oh, we're concentrating on the king queen at the moment. So we went for the pot. And we scaled it back a bit. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And we got the snap fold. So let's go back to the king queen. I'm just going to be coming in just a moment as we fold this one. So we've got the king queen now on the left hand side. Not yet, we haven't. We've not gone back far enough. Here we have the king queen. We're going back now. So we've got king queen on table 1. We just call versus a min raise under the gun from a fish. I guess we could 3-bet for value, but seems a little bit thin. And because he's got the fish tag, I'm comfortable playing a hand as strong as king queen suited out of position versus him. So no issue with that. A lot of you guys would 3-bet there. I'd no objection to 3-betting. I just prefer, I was going to 3-bet. I'd rather 3-bet hands that have less post-flop playability. Like a king queen offsuit would be a better hand, in my opinion, to 3-bet here. And king queen suited, just because the suitedness gives you that extra bit of like playability post flop. I know it's only worth a few extra like percentage points in terms of like hot and cold equity, but in terms of playability, it makes a massive difference in my opinion. So I'm probably going to 3-bet my king queen unsuited a lot of the time, and like pretty much always call my king queen suited. So anyways, flop checks through. We just like decide to tap the turn. And this is a strategy I use a lot against fish, and I don't use it against regulars because I don't think it works well against regulars, but I think it works really well against fish. I'm just going to bet small here on the turn, and if we don't get raised, I'm going to like put him on a range of something like 10x, 9x, maybe some draws, some like opening straight draws, some good shots. Who knows what? Maybe the occasional weak ace. But my strategy a lot of the time against fish, against like bad regulars, sorry, not bad regulars, like fishy players that I know aren't regulars and aren't thinking on as high a level as regulars do, I will often make a small turn bet, and if I don't get raised, I will then frequently just like overbet the river as a bluff, and it works so well against these types of players. You just get them to cap the range with the small bet on the turn, and then you blast them off most of that range with the overbet on the river, because they just can't cope with it. You know, it's if they are like calling 90 cents here with like a 9 or a 10, and then the pot goes up to being whatever it's going to be, 320 something, and you just bet 450 on the river, they're going to fold all the 9s and the 10s. They're going to call with the aces, but they're not going to have too many aces because fishy players are just going to see bet their top pairs most of the time. So it's just a really good strategy against fish. It works better in position, of course, because then they've checked to you. They've shown weakness at all points. But nevertheless, I still think it's a really good strategy. So my plan here was to bet smallish on this turn, like just 90 cents, and overbet the river should I miss. But now, because we think the overbet on the river is going to get too many folds, I think it's sensible to go with like, not underbet here, but like a smaller size bet. Had that river been, I don't know, like I don't know, who knows what, some kind of 6 or deuce or something. So probably not something that made a straight, but there's not many cards that aren't going to make a straight come the river, I guess. Maybe another 4 or something, who knows. If it had been a relative brick, I would have just like banged like a $4.50 bet in here and been really happy with the situation. Expect to get at least 75% folds. And if I don't, if this is the time he's just like got a strong enough hand to call, then never mind. It's just one of those things. But now we've actually made a hand, I'd much rather see myself bet around 180 or something and just try and get the crying call from like the 9 jack, 10 jack, just a sold 10x or a sold 9x or something. Bet small enough where they can call with the types of hand that you are trying to make them fold when you overbet. It's dead exploitable. That's why I don't do it against regulars, but against fish we can just be exploitable, and I'm happy to make myself exploitable in this way against players that I don't believe are going to be looking to exploit me. Oh, and I did go with the overbet, and I'm quite disappointed. I think that's a mistake there to go with the overbet. Yeah, we have the nuts, and I guess I'm just hoping he's got like a 2-pair type hand or something. But no, I don't like him. I'd much rather see myself bet 180 or something there. Overbetting there means that I'm trying to be balanced with my bluffs too, and I'm not bothered about being balanced against fish. In fact, I think it's better to be unbalanced against fish and just be doing very exploitable things that are just going to work best in a vacuum. So I'm disappointed with that overbet. I don't think it's a mistake as such, but I think there's probably more value in like a 180 bet. Try and get the crying call rather than the hero call. But never mind. Can we make this even faster, because it still seems a bit on the slow side. And that was speeding up. Now we're getting somewhere with the speed. So we have the pocket fours, the brick, ready on the pause button in case we need it. I think I like leading this turn. This donkey player checks back. I think I know this player well enough to know that if he does have a flush draw, if he has any kind of pair, he normally just fires. That's why he's got the donkey tag. He's been in these games forever. It's just a long time losing to loose aggressive player. I'm presuming it's someone who's got like pretty wealthy and just plays for absolute fun. And I know this player really well, and I'd be very surprised if they're checking back pairs or flush draws. So I think just betting here for protection, pick up the pot's fine. If we do get called, then at least we'll have the good shot to fall back on. So I think betting's fine. And hopefully he's going to fall before we talk about the ace-10. And he does. So we've got the ace-10 here against someone with the fish tag, blind versus blind. He's made a reasonably small 3-bet to just like 8 point something, like 8.3x. And it's not a nice spot. Ace-10's kind of... Excuse me while I clear my throat. Ace-10's the kind of hand that I think I'd rather play with the initiative. When we get 3-bet, we've got a hand like ace-10 of clubs. It's kind of, do you want to 4-bet, like 4-bet fold it, like turn it into a bluff? Do we want to just call with it? No, we're going to miss most of the time, have to check fold. It's just not a nice position to be in. There's no real good answer to this question. Like, we have no problem like ace-queen plus, raise, get it in, probably. Jacks plus, raise, get it in, 10s maybe. This is like right in the middle, and I think ace-10 offsuit against someone with a high 3-bet I think works really nicely to put into a 4-bet bluff range. I think ace-10 suited is too strong to 4-bet and then fold, especially to a player with the fish tag. So I think calling and just hoping to get a reasonable flop's probably the best of a bad lot of options. Call, we get a completely unreasonable flop, and I hope I just check fold. Which I do. I'm going to play this video through till we get to 20 minutes in the actual video. It's an hour and 5 minutes, so I'm going to do 3 lots of 20 minutes with it. We're currently up to 5 minutes and 50 seconds. We've got quite a long way to go yet. Hopefully we get them all in within 35 minutes. I don't like making videos that are too long anymore. I think people just drop off watching them. They don't watch them all. Kind of think there's a lot of wasted time in them. I know some guys just do watch them all and they love them all, but there's lots of other people like, well, the videos are too long, kind of never get through them all. So I get that. So I'm focusing more on making 25 to 35 minute videos. I remember this 8-6 suited. Creating me like a bit of, not an interesting, but like what do you do pre-flop? Because we have a hand that normally I would isolate with, but this person has got the kind of stat that might just limp jam over an isolation or whatever, or even if they limp call, there isn't much room for bluffing post-flop because of his stack size. If I limp and I make it at like $1.08 or something, which has been my isolation size lately. He's going to leave an SPR of like 4 post-flop, which doesn't leave that much room for bluffing in cash games. It does in tournaments, not so much in cash games. And then we also have the added problem of this player behind here who just has like the $5.10. So I underlined a little bit, and we went with the over limp in the end, and I think that's fine. Not very often I'll do it, but a situation that calls for it, and then we just like get a fantastic flop. But our hand, if we're going to miss with the ace-8, this is the way you want to miss. We fired out a big bet, and I think we just take it down from memory. We've got a potential interesting situation with the 10s going on. I don't remember this hand. So, right, we've 3-bet, or we squeeze pre-flop with 10s versus a min-raise and a call, which I think is completely fine. Against a regular, I'd be less inclined to do it because I think regulars play a lot more 4-bet or fold when they're out of position, and the regulars range is going to be quite strong. against a fishy player or against two fishy tag players, it's fine. I'm happy if you 4-bets, I'll probably fold, but get it in against this guy. We have a strategy for all situations, or a plan for all situations. And now we get the 9-5-5 flop. I think it's a pretty standard c-bet situation. And I just need to be thinking, what do we want to do here? We're wanting to like get it in over 2 streets against a fish while the board stays relatively safe for our hands, or are we looking to bet smaller and maybe just try and milk the money out? And I think if we're going with a slightly bigger bet size against like weaker players, again, we can't really make large c-bets in 3-bet pots versus regulars because it's just going to make us too exploitable. But against like weaker players here, I'm quite happy like checking back a lot of my stuff that's missed or what have you, and just bombing pretty big with my made hand. So I'd like to see myself make a big bet here that allows me to just jam the turn. If we were to bet 5 here and he called, then that would put like 17 in the pot and leave us like just a slight overbet for the turn, which is going to look a bit spewy against some players, but again, against a fish who might just have pocket 8 and say fuck you and call down, I think it's going to be completely fine. Shouldn't have too much 5x. Wow, he donks into me. Do you remember this hand? Yes, I think I do. So he donks into me. So our options here are raise, get it in now, which has merit, certainly against draws and things. Just call and look to maybe get it in on some safe turns, or get away from our hand on some like bad turns. And I think I'm fine with either. I don't recall what I did in this hand, but I'm thinking I'm fine with just raising now and getting it in. I don't know, making a raise to something like $11, giving him room to shove over the top, and hopefully get it in against 9x or draws and what have you. And again, like I said, I don't think I have too much 5x in his range, because who calls 3-bets from that under the gun? What 5x is he having is under the gun range, and how does he call 3-bets? I guess he's a fish, so he could have 5-6, 5-4, 6-5, 7-5, lots of those things. He can have them, but it's not that likely. So what did I do? Hit the timeout, which is always a good thing. Check my notes, don't have any. I like all of that, and then we just call. We get a pretty good turn. Our opponent checks. And he's got $23 left. So when he checks here, I think he's going to have hands like pocket 8s a lot. Maybe pocket 7s getting tricky. Just some random air that's just like took a stab. I don't know. But at this point, I'm pretty confident I've got the best hand. If I haven't, well, never mind. And I think I remember this hand now, and I think I just go all in, which I'm perfectly happy with, because we can still absolutely get caught by many, many worse hands here. We give our hands some much needed protection against draws. So yeah, I think I go all in, and I think I like it. We've got an SPR of like less than 1.5 or about 1.5. There's not much we can do. Any bet commits us anyway. I always went for it and he just folded and whatever. I'm happy it's a good result, it's a fine result. Looks like we're going to miss our 35-minute cut-off point for this video. We're only 9 minutes into it. We've already done 23 minutes of footage. Just giving up with the ace king. Well, at first we keep giving up. Get a pretty bad flop for our hand. It's like we've got 2 overs and backdoor straight draw, nothing much else going on. This player is a station, but he's also aggressive. He's just a bad aggressive donkey calling station type player. Really easy to play against when you have a hand. Really quite annoying when you don't have one. But yeah, I don't think, if I was to bet here, I don't think he'd fold any pair, whether that would be a pocket pair or just like a pair on the board. He certainly wouldn't fold any draws. He would absolutely bluff raise me with flush draws. I know him pretty well. So yeah, it's just not a great situation for ace king against this type of player, so I just had to check. When he doesn't bet, I'm starting to like it a little bit better. I'm not really sure what his range looks like for not betting, because I'm just used to him being aggressive. But at least we're going to hopefully get to see turns and rivers. He checks, we then bet, and kind of we got 2 overs and a gut shot against a player who bets a lot. I could easily be behind it to something as fucking silly as ace deuce or something like that. There's lots of ways I can be behind, but I think it's just too weak to just check fold here for a half pot bet. So I check call like a little virgin. At least I think I do. And then we get a shit river, and I just check fold. And it feels like I played the hand like pretty weak, pretty bad, especially when you see that and you think you could have got him to fold the flop with the c-bet. It feels like I played that hand too weakly, but against that particular player, it's like whatever. I play for home runs against that type of player. I don't play for like small pots, tittle-tattling around. He's a home run type of player where you just want to win big pots or play big pots against him, because he'll accommodate you in that way. Isolate a limper. Tag him as a fish. Could be correct or not, but we know he's probably not super good. We flop pretty well. Obviously, we're going to need to see a bit. Not too many draws out there. A couple of straight draws maybe and flush draw, but it's not the wettest board. People quite often look at these boards and say, oh, the board's really wet, because they can see some draws on it, but this board would be much more scary if it was like Queen 10, 7 with a flush draw rather than Queen 4, 3 with a flush draw. So pretty dry board. There's certain hands we can get value from. So we bet. And here's my problem now, and it's a problem I think a lot of guys have. And I think they misplay lots and lots of hands when they're out of position. And I don't like it, because now we're in a position where we have top pair, good kicker, but this pot's starting to get relatively big. You know, we've only got an SPR of just over 3 left now. We're out of position with an SPR of 3 with top pair, good kicker. So we bet here and we get raised. We're in a world of pain, an absolute world of pain. We're probably going to have to fold. And I think that's something that lots of guys just aren't that good at. So they start just checking too much, or they'll bet call too much. They just won't really have the bet fold in them too often. They'll either have the check call in them or the bet get pissed off and not fold option. It's a tough spot. It's a good spot if we just like bet and we take it down. That's fine. But you bet and we get called and then the river comes out, who knows what card. It's a tough spot and people don't realise it. They just think, oh, good top pair, good kicker, let's just keep betting. But not much good can happen really well, not much good, that's not the right thing to say. But there's lots of things that can go wrong here from this turn. We could bet and maybe size it slightly wrong and either bet too much and kind of value on ourselves against the top of their range, or bet too little and maybe induce some bluff raises because our bet looks weak. It's a tricky spot. Being out of position sucks. I try not to be out of position too much, and I check a lot of hands out of position that other guys don't check. Now I don't check top pair good kicker in multi-way pots too often, because I'd rather just thin the field and just take the pot down there and then. I'd have been quite happy with just betting that flop and taking it down. I think it's hard to say, yeah, you value betting the flop, but you only do getting that value that you're creating for yourself if you get all the way to showdown and then have the best hand. So most of the time when I flop top pair, top kicker, I'm happy betting and just taking it down. Or if I'm in position, I'm happy like betting a couple of streets and then maybe checking back rivers and things. It's hard to get 3 streets of value with top pair, good kicker, especially when you're out of position. In position, you can do it a lot easier. So this is like a tough spot that money guys don't even appreciate as a tough spot. They're just like, oh, good top pair, good kicker, let's go. But it's going to be shit if he folds when we don't make any more money, which is a fine result, but we don't make any more money for that bet. If he calls, then you're going to be in tough spots on lots of rivers. So imagine if we bet $5 here, he calls, going to be 18 in the pot, we're going to have 20 behind, or like a pot size bet left, and then we're going to do on rivers. We're just going to jam rivers for like just over pot on like bricks and things to get called by what. We're going to check, he jams, do we like just call and hope he's got him his flush draw, especially when we've got like the king of clubs. I don't know. It creates a lot of tough spots. So I'm going to bet here and I'm going to hope it works. I'm just going to hope he folds and just like pick up the pot. We need to bet. We can't be giving free cards, but I'd be quite happy just to bet here and see him take it down. And we do that. And we just spent another 4 minutes discussing one hand, or around 4 minutes. So it's going to definitely fuck me up for the... We've got 7.5 minutes to go on the playing time. and we've got to try and cram them into 5 minutes. I think we're going to go over 35 minutes, guys. You'll know that already by now, because when you're watching this, you'll actually be able to see how long the video's got, of course. So we have an ace-jack suited here. Pretty standard 3-bet against the fishy player for value. I mean, there's fish behind, so I mean, I could make an argument to call there, and just let the fish in behind. Ace-jack suited, as we talked about earlier, suited hands have way more playability than unsuited hands do. So I think calling there, I'd have no problem whatsoever with calling, but I'd much rather just call on the button. And then if the blinds squeeze in with guaranteed position post flop, less likely to just call when I'm not on the button, because it just sucks when we get squeezed, especially if we get squeezed and we're not in guaranteed position. So I'd rather just 3-bet there, get heads up against someone with a fish tag, and if players behind with fish tags come along, then whatever, it's not the worst thing in the world, because we still have very playable hands. So we flop a good shot, super standard c-bet. We can just make him fold all kinds of pocket pairs and things. If he's like just raise calling pocket pairs, which I expect most players with the fish tag to be not folding pocket pairs pre-flop, then we can just get him off like pocket 5s through, well, like pocket 2s through pocket 9s here pretty much always. He snap calls. We pick up a good shot on the turn, but I'm not in the habit of trying to bluff pot fish in 3-bet pots when they've check called on like king queen X boards. They're just going to have the king or the queen way too often and not want to fold it. So at this point I'm just comfortable just shutting down. We took our shot at the pot, we didn't work, and time to give up. We could, I guess, when he checks again here, I think it's super unlikely as a king, so I guess we could just go for like an overbet. I don't know, so like $16 or something, just to like put maximum pressure on his queen X. But when he has like king jack and calls anyway, it's fucking shite. And I think he's going to have slightly more queen X than king X, I guess, given the line he's taken, because I think king X might check raise the flop sometimes with as a fish, or king X definitely, not definitely, but sometimes leads the river, whereas queen X probably never does. So I think he's going to have more queen X. But I think he's going to have like a few draws that have missed too, some spade draws and stuff that maybe we're ahead of. Like, I don't know, 7, 8 of spades, stuff like that. But not too many things. I think I'm behind a lot of the time here. In hindsight, I remember this pot now. I did check back, and if it had taken, basically would taken more time over it, or just got through the right thought processes, I think an overbet would have been in order here, because I think his range is going to have a lot of queen X in it. The problem is like we don't beat some of his like flush draws are going to contain a 9 or a 6, 8-9 suited, 7-9 suited, 6-5 suited, 6-7 suited, 8-7 suited. Well, would be 8-7 suited. But a lot of his suited connectors that called the flop are going to have a pair on right at this point too. So I think I like to bluff here just to make him fold like a 9x of spades or 6x of spades too. So if we could have this hand back, I would absolutely bet this river again, and I would probably bet somewhere in the region of $18. But I didn't, sadly. I give it some thought, as you can see. I didn't just, and I guess I just concluded that he wasn't the player that was going to fold. Oh, right, okay then. So I went for a small bet, and I remember now why I did this. I did this to like put pressure on like any of his pocket pairs that just floated the flop once, to put pressure on his like 4x, or if he did have like the suited connectors with the 9 or the 6, maybe just try and make him fold. Those types of hands. This size doesn't achieve that. This is a pretty shit sizing. And not really in line. Excuse me a second. And not really in line with my like overall strategy versus fish. That's twice now in this video actually we've gone against it. We went with the overbet with the nuts earlier when I would have preferred an underbet, and then we've gone with the underbet here when I would have preferred an overbet. So that's 2 hands versus fish, where for some reason, and today I've just deviated from my current like lines that I'm using against fish, and I think it's cost me money on both occasions, because spoiler alert, he calls and wins here, and we lost value with the king queen earlier, and this is absolutely opposite of what I've been doing recently. Not really sure why I have done both of these things, because they've both been very conscious acts. It's not like it's been autopilot or something. I'd like to say why I've done it, well, I can explain why I did it on both. I wanted to get value with the king queen from 2 pairs, and I wanted to like make the bottom of his range fold here like 4x, maybe like 6x or something like that. But I don't like it. I would have much preferred. I'm going to bet here. Let's go with something that's going to need to work a lot. If we bet like $18 here, it's got to work 66% of the time. But I think it probably does. If he doesn't have a king, I think he folds close to 100% of the time to an $18 bet. And I don't think he has a king very often, so I'd much prefer to see the overbet here. Fuck this hand up. This is possibly the worst played hand of the session from recollection. Now, not happy with the size at all, because I don't think it does anything really to get fold equity from the type of hand I think he's most likely to have. So yeah, annoyed by that one. But I'm not above calling myself out. We all make mistakes. That was one of them. Right, what we might actually do here, because we've got like 15 minutes gone through the video, we might actually just make it a 35-minute video, just to make all the videos 35 minutes, and then it is what it is, you know. Because if we have 35 minutes, but we don't get far through the video, then no big deal. It still means we've been having lots of conversations. So yeah, I think we'll leave it here on like a 36 minutes, and yeah, we'll pick up this video. I'll probably make another video. I'm in work tomorrow. Probably get the second part of this out sometime on Tuesday, I think, 2 days from now. That won't mean anything to you if you're watching this like 3 months after it's been made. But for those of you guys who do watch my videos when they come out, the next one's probably going to come out sometime on Tuesday, I think. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you've got this far, don't forget to hit the like button. And hopefully I'll catch some of you on Twitch tonight if you're watching this today, around 11 PM UK time. Bye for now.